The 70th character in Eternal Return is here, and good god is she ever strong. What's poppin' everyone, it's your boy Levi, and once again, we add another character to the list who received the day 1 nerf. Also, there will be Tsubame codes periodically throughout this video, so make sure you're watching to the end if you want to pick up the character. Tsubame is hard to label as one category. She's a marksman assassin hybrid that dives into the middle of a fight and pops out to safety when she can. She relies on dodging abilities and picking the right moments to jump in. Tsubame is a shuriken weapon user with a fixed range for her passive. Additionally, she can't crit, and needs time to ramp up in a fight. When she basic attacks, she leaves a mark under her opponent. At 3 procs of this mark, this unlocks her ultimate, allowing her to dash through the target, consuming the mark for damage. Left behind from where you dashed is a ninja log. Tsubame can ult to the log to return to the location. After ulting once, the same mark will appear next to Tsubame's health bar. This is her ramp up passive and increases their damage based on how many times she's ulted enemies. At 3 ultimates, she basically turns god mode, doing insane amounts of damage. Tsubame's E is a stealth roll. This will also spawn a log at her starting location, which she can use to ult back to unless the log is on cooldown from her ult. Tsubame's W is a movement speed increase. She gets insanely fast and can use it while stealth. It also increases the attack speed of her next 2 basic attacks. Lastly is Tsubame's Q. She throws out shurikens, and when they pop on the ground, they slow and deal damage. This is honestly a pretty clunky ability and can decrease your damage if used wrong. If you hit an enemy that doesn't already have passive stacks on them, it just does damage. But if they have at least 1 stack of passive, it applies 2 stacks. I like to use it on the second rotation of ult. Make sure you R3 your target, basic attack for the passive, Q for 2 more stacks of passive, and then R again. This puts you at 2 procs of R very quickly in a fight. Game 1, and as you all know, I don't read the character's abilities before hopping in. It's a little challenge I set for myself each time a new character comes out. I'm teaming up with Adrutoma because I figured Tsubame would be a very popular character. He also put out his day 1 Tsubame video as well. Check out how our game's with him on the character over there. Just a heads up, there's a bug in spectator mode at the moment where it always shows test subject instead of player names. Just know, I'm obviously the Tsubame in these games, and Adri is the Tia. I wasn't that excited for Tsubame before her kit got announced. The ninja design was whatever to me, but after watching her trailer, her playstyle seemed a lot like Kaisa, a character I mained in League of Legends. We get into a few early game fights, which was good for helping me learn the character. One thing that's crazy about this character is how slippery she is. I imagine once people get the hang of her, she's going to be an incredibly hard character to kill. I think she excels in a duelist type situation. Stack up your ult passive, and if you can find an enemy to isolate in a 1v1, it puts her in a very favorable position. If it doesn't go well, you have the tools to get yourself out. Our first game was relatively low kill game, but we made it to the final 2. I managed to get an isolated fight on the Heart who kind of trolls with her positioning, and I forced the ult out of her. With me diving, we didn't really have a good front line to 2v2 the remaining opponents, and unfortunately we all go down. First game second place was not bad though. Game 2 and our comp didn't really get much better. Running the double assassin worked well for early game kills, and we were able to get quite a few. Tsubame's got a pretty good third party as well, being able to pick up kills very easily on stragglers due to her high movement speed. If you get the chance to jump on a mage, Tsubame does really well into characters with lots of skill shots. The speed that she can run at and constantly jumping around makes her incredibly hard to hit. This poor Fiora got schmicks trying to hit me. She did end up getting her revenge later in the game, diving onto us and distracting us from their own Tsubame, ripping us apart. Game 2, we go down 3rd. Game 3, and it's the best team comp we've had so far. I think Tsubame is the best in a comp where she has someone to dive with her on a target and someone to provide CC for her. As I predicted in my trailer analysis video, Tsubame really only brings damage to the table. Her utility all comes in tools for her escape, and she doesn't have any setup for teammate. At most, she can dance around a backline similar to Ekion does, but without a knockup. Once again, we're able to pick up a few early game kills. Due to her low cooldowns and ramp up passive, Tsubame is very good at taking back-to-back fights. In extended fights or fights where a third party is imminent, look to try and keep your passive up by ulting through downed bodies. It still counts for your passive and you'll maintain your damage. Also, don't be afraid to ult through enemies if you're taking damage. The dash through has some healing on it and you'll recover some health. We didn't end up making it to a day 2 objective, and we got stat checked in the battle zone by another Tsubame. At the time of this video, Tsubame is a very stat checking character and needs items to really be effective. Staying ahead of the pace of the game is important for any assassin character, but especially an assassin with a ramp up mechanic. We hunted some mastery and make some call-ins, but we get picked trying to get an extra item. Super unfortunate because we were already a little bit behind and we just used all our credits. Fortunately, with 5 seconds left into night 4, Adri manages to farm enough credits to call one of us in. Now normally, Debbie and Marlene plus Tia would be a much better duo than Tsubame and Tia, but you know we play for the content around these parts. Adri calls me in and we set out to win a 2v3 with under 5 seconds of timer. We TP in the temple and managed to hyperloop right on a team already fighting. While we didn't get any kills, we were able to finish off some of the bodies, assuring that there would be no resin. Making some last minute call-ins, we wanted to make sure that we got the Sylvia before taking the 2v2. We sniffed her out hiding on the top side of temple and forced her into red. Sylvia is one of those matchups where most of the cast won't be able to chase her down on her bike. However, Tsubame's movement speed is crazy fast, and I'd be able to keep up with her if she tried to run away. I tried stacking my passive on the bat nearby, but unfortunately it doesn't stack on animals. She didn't have much chance anyway, with me being able to dodge her bike knockup with dashes. We pick up our kill and all that's left is a 2v2. The enemy team unfortunately still had Wick. We had to kill the other Tsubame first, and I knew that they would be focusing me as well. I wanted to try and bait out the demo knockup before we engaged on the enemy Tsubame. Here's how it went. With Tsubame dead and having my passive stacked up, Dema had no chance. Adri and I were rewarded with playing for content with a win. Love to see it. This was game number 5 or 6, I believe, so no punishment for me. Despite Tsubame being similar to the character I play in League, I didn't actually feel that comfortable playing her. In theory, I like her playstyle a lot, but she's going to require a ton of practice for me if I want to pick her up. If you missed any of my day 1 character release experiences, click or tap the screen now and you'll be taken to a playlist with all my new character showcases.